The hiring, firing, and disciplinary power over Springfield police officers could be headed back to the hands of civilians. The Springfield City Council is set to vote tonight on whether to establish a civilian police commission. Most recently used until 2005, a state-run financial control board disbanded it, and it's an idea that Mayor Domenic Sarno opposes. More details now from former Springfield City Councilor Bud Williams and City Councilor Timothy Ryan, who brought the measure up this time around.
It's on the books. It's been on the books for several years. It hasn't been enacted yet, or it hasn't gone effective yet. And so the revision that we're talking about is just to remove the council approval of the mayor's selection and to make it effective on passage. But there's an existing ordinance that had been delayed.
That was 2016, right?
Correct.
The council voted its approval when you, Rep. Williams, were then Councilor Williams. So what happened in 2016? How did the mayor challenge that then?
He didn't sign it. Simple
But
as that.
he saw a legal problem with it, right? In that council would need to ultimately approve the members of this commission.
Well, part of the issue, which I think Councilor Ryan has addressed, is that, and I really feel I believe in what he's talking about, that the mayor should have the authority to make the appointments to the Civilian Review Board.
And so you think removing that extra step where the city council would need to check that box as well might make this move forward?
It's coming before us on Monday for an override vote. I believe the votes are there. And so then it would become effective, and it's a duly authorized and enacted ordinance of the city of Springfield. So presumptively, it's correct, and it should take effect.
And so it's been about 13 years since the city had a police commission that was taken away when the oversight board came in and said, you know what, we don't think this is a good idea. What would be different this time around in your mind?
They took it away they wanted to make other changes, and taking away the police commission allowed them to do it. There's been no study that shows that the commissioner model is any better than a chief police commission model. What this does is it puts a civilian face in front of the people on those issues where it's appropriate to have a civilian face, and also to have the judgment of civilians as to, whether this conduct is acceptable or unacceptable.
You mentioned the mayor, and I do want to say we did invite him to participate here today. He couldn't join us because of a scheduling conflict, but he has said that he feels the commission is an outdated model and that discipline should be left in the hands of law enforcement. You're chuckling. Why?
First of all, we passed the ordinance in 2016, and what the council really should have done, we should have gone to court because it was a legal document, and we should have gone to court to insist on the city abide by the legislation that the body had passed. I just think that, and I've served under both systems, I think the Civilian Review Board gives the citizen participation within the process. There's a lack of continuity between the community and the police department. This builds public trust. It gives some folks who really feel left out of the process and think the police department is too heavy-handed in certain areas. It gives a balance, and it's worked.
The city currently has a community police hearing board, and you're shaking your head. No, you think it's ineffective?
It's very ineffective. Up until like a year ago, they never had posted meetings. They met in almost secrecy. They weren't announced as public meetings should be announced, 48-hour rule. Certainly, this board has advisory capacity. They have no authority to do anything. All they do, they listen to the cases and they make recommendations to the commissioner. He makes the final decision as to what should happen to a particular officer if there is a particular charge or an incident against that officer.
Councilor, how would you want the Citizens Police Commission to function? What would you want their roles and responsibilities to be?
So they become the police commissioners, and they are the hiring, the firing, the promoting, the disciplinary agency. So if there's 3 people up for an exam, they determine the criteria. And usually it's off civil service, and if they bypass that, they have to have darn good reasons. But also when they impose discipline, if they understand that what we say by majority vote is what's going to happen, then they approach it in a much more sober fashion is this offense worth a 10-day suspension? Is it worth a 60-day suspension? Is it a terminable offense? And those are things that if you're the decision maker, you're going to approach it soberly as opposed to, well, I'm just making a recommendation, so I'll ask for twice what I think I'll get.
Another problem that Mayor Sarno has raised that he sees with this type of a system would be that politics and patronage could really get in the way here. And, what's to stop a member of this commission who has a gripe or a beef with a certain officer from kind of exacting more stringent punishment if they came before them?
At the end of the day, the police commission or the current system, the mayor has the control. And so if a police commissioner steps out of line and he says, I want my brother-in-law to be made a captain, that should go back to the mayor, and they serve at the pleasure of the mayor. Mr. Commissioner, you're no longer a commissioner. And so that's how you root out those kind of abuses, and I don't know that there's any record of that. I mean, it's more hearsay and make-believe than not. But the mayor, the current promotions are subject to the approval ultimately of the mayor. So at the end of the day, and the mayor's a political figure.
But doesn't he say that that's one of his responsibilities to make those kind of calls?
So now he's doing it through a police commission where there's 5 men and women who are answerable to the mayor, but also have an independent role to play, which is, do we believe this officer is the one who should get that next promotion, or what discipline we should impose?
One of the other concerns I heard recently raised by city councilors when you took this vote up again and approved it recently was the fact that there's been quite a bit of money paid out in the form of settlements because of alleged police misconduct, most recently $1.1 million in October. How would a citizens commission change that, or could they?
They wouldn't change that. What they try to do is change the behavior of the police officers. Officers are sometimes conduct that's unacceptable, should be disciplined, and should be fired if that's warranted. We are settling cases because there are a lot of officers, whether it's a lack of training, lack of sensitivity, that go out and they do something egregious. There's a settlement, and the city's on the hook. The city is on the hook. I think they're indemnified for about $1 million, I believe.
Correct.
Over and beyond $1 million, that falls back on the police officer. Over the past years, the city has picked up that, whatever the amount is over the $1 million, and we have paid it from taxpayers. I would suggest if we had one case that the police officer, when he's indemnified over $1 million, and he had to pay that settlement, their behavior would change.
The Bigda case, the Nathan Bills incident, those are exhibits 1 and 2 as to the present system isn't working. Bigda's just started as a civil suit. We have Vigno, who's been terminated, who's suing. We have Bigda, who's just been indicted. The Cumberland.
Sorry to jump in, but when you say Bigda, you mean Officer Gregory Bigda. Yes. He's currently suspended without pay.
After his indictment.
Right.
And he'd been assigned to the records room after a 60-day suspension for the last several years. But the system failed there. And similarly with respect to the incident Nathan Bills, where those 4 individuals were assaulted, there was no internal discipline imposed on any of the individuals involved, and it's coming through the criminal process, which, the department should be ahead of that.